Hi everybody, this is Pastor Dan from Desert Rain Church in Downey, and this is our midweek reimagined, where we have people that are giving their testimonies from our church. And I'm excited this week because today we have Steve Ramirez, who is not only our awesome worship leader, but he's also the principal at our school at Southland Christian Academy. So sit back and enjoy this testimony.
Hi, my name is Steve Ramirez, and I'd like to share my testimony with you. I hope it can be encouraging to you. I was born in Southern California to two awesome people, and was the only child, and my parents did send me to a Christian school. So I went to a Christian school from kindergarten all the way to I was a sixth grader. And that really did impact my life in a big way, in ways that I still experience today. And at the time, I had no idea that the decision that my parents made for me to send me to a place where they would share the Word of God with me and teach me the Bible and about worship would impact me so much. At a young age, when I was placed in preschool, it was a Christian preschool, and I remember there was one of the teachers who played guitar, and she would sit us all in a circle, and she would sit down in front of us, and she would play her guitar. And she'd sing songs, and some of them would be songs to the Lord, some of them would just be songs that all kids know. And I can remember, as a really young person, just looking up at this teacher with her guitar and her singing, and it was like magic. It was magical, and it really mesmerized me and just captured my imagination, and I think that years and years later, when I picked up a guitar in the 8th grade, that seed, when I was a real young kid, was planted even at that time. That was one of the things that did inspire me to pick up a guitar and to play music. So at the end of 6th grade, I did transition to public school, and that was a huge transition in my life because I went from a very small Christian community to a large public school with people who believed so many different things and acted in so many different ways that I had never experienced before. So it was a really huge transition, and it was probably one of the most difficult times in my life so far. And I can remember in middle school feeling very awkward, very bad about myself and how I looked, how I felt, just pretty much everything. It was a really difficult time. I was out of my comfort zone, out of the environment that I was used to, and I remember one night I was in my room and I was praying. I prayed to the Lord. And I cried out to Him. I remember that I was just telling the Lord, how bad I felt, how bad I felt about myself, and how really insecure that I had become. He led me to the book of Daniel, and to the part where it talks about the young men who were from Israel, who did not eat all the king's delicacies and did not eat and drink what the king of Babylon had provided. Instead, they followed God's law, and they only ate the vegetables, and they were allowed to pretty much follow God's law. At the end of a certain time, those those young men stood out head and shoulders above the people who were feeding themselves at the table. The young men who were God's men, they stood out. They set themselves apart, and the Lord really blessed them. And the Lord led me to that chapter. You know, it was one of those things where I was crying in my room, and I just sort of opened the Bible, and boom, you know, that's what was there. And I read it, and I was crying more because I felt like the Lord had spoken to me, that He actually, you know, He heard my cry at that time, and He knew how I felt, and He encouraged me with His word, you know, and just kind of let me know, no, you don't need to follow, you know, the ways of the world. You follow me. I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be okay, you know. That's how I felt at that time. So I did, and then I went into high school. So when I was in high school, you know, I never made a conscious decision to turn away from the Lord or to stop serving Him. It was just a very slow, subtle drift away from the things of God, away from reading the Bible, away from praying to the Lord, away from going to church, away from being with other Christians. It was just very subtle, very slow, so slow that I didn't even notice. I didn't even realize how far I had drifted away from Him until I started to really get into more serious sins. By that time, I was so far from the Lord that it was easy to fall into sin and to begin to do things that displeased the Lord. By about my junior year, I had totally stopped serving the Lord. I started to experiment with all kinds of things, anything you can think of that is part of the world. I definitely took part in it, and I experienced those things, and whether it be, you name it, immorality, intoxication, I mean, all the things of the world, I was into. My choices, my actions had left me feeling very empty, very unsatisfied, questioning even if God existed, inside, very sad. And I really felt unclean, inside. There was a while where I really did have this struggle, between knowing God, being raised as a Christian, and then not living as a Christian at all at this time. So there was a struggle there, and it was really hard. But in the summer of my junior year, the Lord grabbed a hold of my life in a supernatural way. He allowed me to feel His presence in such a way that He transformed my life literally in a moment. One night, the Lord, in His sovereign timing, decided that He was going to show up in the midst of all of my darkness, all of my sin, in the midst of not serving Him, drifting away, that He was going to come and reveal Himself to me. He was going to come and change my life in a moment by His presence, and that's what He did. I remember being in my room, and he knocked me on the floor, and he laid me out. This was before I even knew about what Christians call being slain in the spirit and falling backwards and all that. I had no concept of that, but he did. He literally knocked me on my back, and for several hours just revealed himself to me in such a unique and amazing way. He spoke to me. He shared with me some things that I see now, in my life, and he allowed me to feel his presence, and it was so beautiful. I remember when this experience was happening, thinking, this feels like in nothing else I've ever experienced in my entire life. Because I was experimenting with things of the world, I had, there's things that feel really good in the world, Sin feels good. Otherwise, people wouldn't be tempted to do it, So sin feels good. But then it leaves you broken. And it leaves you empty. And I remember at that moment when God was revealing himself to me, thinking, wow, this feels better. This feels better than anything else I've ever experienced. And I feel clean inside. I feel clean, It didn't, his presence didn't leave me feeling empty and sad and alone. Instead, he made me feel like it says in the Bible, in his presence is fullness of joy. I really felt that, just the fullness of joy, and it changed my life. His presence changed my life. So I finished my high school out, and I ended up going to Bible college. And I graduated from Bible college, and I was able to, that's where I met Pastor Don, and I started going to Messenger Fellowship in Norwalk. And that happened because my Aunt Fran, she invited me to go to a youth group at Messenger Fellowship, and I remember going to first starting at a Sunday service. I went to the Sunday service at Messenger Fellowship, and it was so different than what I've ever experienced from church. I was used to more tame, maybe calm down version of service, and I remember going into the church and just experiencing just worship that was very free, very loud, a lot of movement, dance, and it was awesome. I mean, it scared me because I wasn't used to that, but it totally drew me in, and then I remember looking at the guitar player on the worship team, and when they were finished, when it was time for the message to come, the guitar player ended up being the pastor. It was Pastor Don, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. He's a musician, and and he's a worshiper. So I started to go to the church. I made that church my home, and I got involved with the youth, with Pastor Adam and Andrea De La Vega, and they were awesome mentors. They were just very, very wonderful people who really helped me out, and showed me what it was to serve the Lord at a young age. And I was able to start using my musical ability for the Lord. At that time, I wanted to be on the worship team so bad, but I was just very shy, and I still am. By nature, I'm an introvert. I'm very shy, but I kind of forced myself to be out there. So when I was in the youth group, I remember wanting to be on the team, and I asked Pastor Adam, I can help you. I can play guitar, and but I just don't want to be plugged in. I'll just let me sit in the back on a chair, and I'll just play the guitar, and I'll be happy. So he did. He let me, Pastor Adam let me be on the worship team. He let me sit in the back, and just play my guitar without being plugged in, without anything. Just there I was in the back playing the guitar with the team, happy as can be, just praising the Lord. And some time went by, and he said, Steve, you need to. We're going to put a mic in front of you, and so they did. They put a microphone in front of me. I was still sitting down on a chair playing guitar, but now they had a little microphone on me, and then a little while longer, maybe a month or two, he said, I think it's time that you stand up. You need to stand up. When we're worshiping, just stand up. And so I did. And the Lord used Pastor Adam and Andrea to really build some confidence and help me to learn about worship leading. So Pastor Adam and Andrea, they really mentored me, and they helped me, got me to a place where I was leading worship for the youth along with Andrea, and it was just, we've had amazing times in the presence of the Lord as a youth group. And they introduced me to the main worship leader of the church, which was Patsy Hoffman. Just amazing, powerful woman of God, just full of life, and she has an amazing story. And I began to play bass guitar for what we call big church, and I played bass, and I was just a happy camper. I enjoyed it so much, and I got to know her. And she was a wonderful mentor as well. And just like in youth, little by little, from the bass, I started to play guitar instead. And then as time went by, they put a mic in front of me, and I started to sing and play guitar on the side. And I served under Patsy Hoffman for a little over 9 years, and we actually became just really great friends. I loved Patsy, and I really looked up to her, and respected who she was, as a worship leader. And I remember when Desert Rain in Downey was being built, when this place was just bones, it just the frame, and we would come in here, and we would walk around the building and pray, and it was literally just concrete and frame. And I remember coming up where they told us the platform would be, and I remember just walking back and forth here, praying and asking the Lord to move and to pour out His Spirit when we sing. And I remember just writing, along with many other people, writing scripture verses all over the place here on the walls and on the floor, and just crying out to the Lord that this area would be used for His glory. And I really feel like, the Lord has answered all of our prayers in that sense, and that was Patsy's prayer as well, So when Patsy was called home to be with the Lord, and they asked me to be the worship leader of Desert Rain, and I said yes, and I was very humbled and excited, and it was just an answer to prayer, because I really, my heart is that people would be able to experience God's presence. So it was very humbling, and it was very exciting that the Lord had called me to lead people in worship here at Desert Rain. It was an awesome thing. I felt the weight of it, just the responsibility, and this, we're talking about worshiping the Lord, and it was just a answer to many years of prayer. Because I can remember in the season of waiting, just countless times, being in my room and singing to the Lord, just the Lord and me, and crying. And I can remember dancing, just, dancing before Him. If someone opened the door, they'd probably think I was crazy, but just over and over, nobody saw that. No one was a witness to those times, but the Lord saw, and I just want to encourage, there might be someone who's watching this, that you're in that time, you're in that time of waiting, and you're in that season where no one is seeing you, or maybe no one's recognizing you, and it might feel like that. It might feel like you're just waiting, but I just want to encourage you that, you are waiting, but you are waiting on the Lord, and the Lord sees you. He sees you in your room. He sees you when you're crying and when you're pouring out your heart to Him. All those tears, they are not in vain, because He is there. He's right there with you. And what seems like a really difficult, hard time of waiting will turn out to be very fruitful. It will turn out to be what the Lord uses to promote you to the next phase of your life. He will do it. So I just want to encourage you to stick through the waiting period. See it through. Make every moment of that waiting count. The way that you could do that is cry out to the Lord. When you're sad, be sad to the Lord and let those tears go to Him. When you're questioning and you don't understand, bring it to the Lord. Present your questions to Him, and allow Him to come in and speak to you and help you through that season. Because the season of waiting is so important, because He will use that for your future. He really will. And I found that to be true in my life. He used that season, and what was done in secret, eventually it came out, and He allowed me to sing to Him in front of many people. He allowed me to worship Him and help others to worship Him too. But it was all it was in that secret place, that He formed my heart, and my longings and my desires for Him. And then he was able to bring it out into the open. And I really praise God for that. I'm so thankful. So I feel just extremely blessed, that I get to lead worship at Desert Rain, be the worship leader, and he has blessed me with an amazing partner, beautiful partner, my wife Lorena. The word says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing," and the Lord really allowed that scripture to be true in my life. She is my partner. She's a blessing, and we have two beautiful children, Nathaniel and Natalie. And to be able to be a husband, to be able to be a dad, it's just like nothing else in the world, And so now we get to worship together. I get to worship with my wife and with my two kids, and we sing together at home, and they want to play guitar, and at the same time I'm playing, and they'll be hitting the guitar, and I'll be trying to play the guitar, and they're hitting it, and we're singing together, and it might sound really messy, but it's awesome. That we get to worship together as a family, and I'm really thankful, and not only that, but the Christian school that my parents sent me to when I was young, from kindergarten to 6th grade, the Lord has allowed me to go back and serve that school as the principal. I just can't even imagine, but the Lord knew, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought when I was a young person going to that school that I would be back there as the principal. I just would never even enter my mind, but it was in the mind of the Lord. He knew. Just like the word says in the book of Psalms, that before even a day of our life was in existence, that he already had in his book all our days written out for us. And I feel that deeply. He has a plan. He had a plan for me, and I'm walking out that plan. And he has a plan for you. He has a plan for you. He has a purpose for you. Even before you were born, he has a calling for you to fulfill. He has a purpose for you to fulfill. And he will see you through all the way to the very end. He will. He will do it.
Wasn't that an incredible testimony? And I just want to say that Steve is an amazing person, and what a blessing he has been to this church and to the school, and just to the people around him. He's an amazing person, and we love him here. Steve mentioned something that was important in his testimony, is that the Lord has our plans already set for us. He has numbered our days and has every day set for us way ahead of time, and even before you were born, the word says he knew you. And maybe you're feeling like you haven't been in that plan, or maybe you feel like you need a plan. Well, the Lord has that plan for you, and maybe it's time. I would encourage you today, if you want to know more about the Lord, or you want to be in the Lord's will for your life, listen, there's nothing better than being in the Lord's will and the plan that he has for you. So if that's you today, I encourage you to just go before the Lord and just ask him and talk to him on your own. And maybe you don't even know if he's real or not. Just all you have to do is just tell him and ask him, to make himself real to you. And I promise you, he'll do that. Maybe you're looking for a place to go to church. We have a place here at Desert Rain for you as well. And maybe you just want to contact somebody. Just contact us at info@desertrain.org. So God bless you, and have a wonderful evening.